Hello, thank you for being here. Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. I'm pleased to be here today with my colleague, the Honourable Maryam Monsef, Minister for Women and Gender Equality and Rural Economic Development. We are also delighted to be joined by former Member of Parliament and former Leader of the Conservative Party, the Honourable Rona Ambrose. Today's announcement, in fact, flows out of the hard work and initiative that Ms. Ambrose championed in Bill C-37, a private member's bill that sadly did not receive royal assent in the last Parliament. Just a short time ago, we introduced Bill C-5 in the House of Commons. This bill is designed to strengthen training requirements for judges and provide them with important insight into the myths and stereotypes that too often surround sexual assault. Indeed, in this day and age, it is critical that all of us who serve the public are equipped with the right tools and understanding to ensure that everyone is treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve. This will help enhance the confidence of survivors of sexual assault and the Canadian public more broadly in our justice system. Les modifications proposées à la loi sur les juges et au code criminel auraient une incidence sur certains aspects de la formation des juges et continueraient de s'appuyer sur les progrès qui ont déjà été réalisés, tant avec le Conseil canadien de la magistrature que d'autres partenaires du système judiciaire. Ce projet de loi rendrait obligatoire pour tous les candidats à la magistrature des cours supérieurs provinciales de s'engager à suivre une formation continue sur les questions liées aux droits relatifs aux agressions sexuelles. Ainsi, les juges auront une compréhension complète et holistique de la nature complexe des agressions sexuelles et des mythes qui les entourent trop souvent. Importantly, the bill would also have the effect of requiring new judges to receive social context training. These measures are aimed at providing those who preside over cases with deeper insights and best practices to help them better navigate the social and cultural factors that they will likely come across in their time on the bench. This provision flows from an amendment made by the House of Commons Committee to Ms. Ambrose's original private member's bill. This new bill also contains measures that would require the Canadian Judicial Council to report on the participation of all sitting Superior Court judges in education around sexual assault law. This would ensure that there is both accountability and incentive for those already serving to participate in this important training. Finally, the bill would improve the transparency of decisions by requiring judges deciding on matters of sexual assault to provide their reasons in writing or enter them into the record. Il est essentiel que les juges qui traitent ces affaires soient équipés pour prendre des décisions équitables et appropriées, à l'abri des stéréotypes nuisibles et des notions archaïques qui, par le passé, ont ébranlé la confiance des Canadiens dans notre système juridique. En 2020, les Canadiens s'attendent à ce que nous dépassions ces mythes et que nous fassions ce qui est nécessaire. Notre société a connu des changements importants au cours des dernières années, changements qui se font attendre depuis beaucoup trop longtemps. Il ne fait aucun doute que nous progressons, mais il nous reste encore beaucoup de travail à faire. Grâce à la loi adoptée lors de la législature précédente, nous avons clarifié le code criminel concernant les agressions sexuelles et renforcé les dispositions concernant les crimes odieux. Nous savons également que trop souvent, les agresseurs sont connus de leurs victimes. Notre gouvernement a apporté des changements afin d'élargir la définition de la violence entre partenaires intimes. Nous avons aussi ajouté une disposition qui inverse le fardeau de la preuve au moment de la mise en liberté sous caution pour ceux qui ont plusieurs antécédents de violence entre partenaires intimes. Avec le dépôt du projet de loi aujourd'hui, nous poursuivons nos efforts pour veiller à ce que notre système de justice pénale traite les victimes d'agressions sexuelles avec le respect et la dignité qu'elles méritent. Laissez-moi prendre un instant pour mentionner l'importance du sujet que nous traitons aujourd'hui. La partisanerie n'a pas raison d'être lorsque nous parlons de protection des victimes d'actes criminels et dans le cas qui nous préoccupe aujourd'hui, des victimes d'agressions sexuelles. C'est important pour moi que nous puissions parler d'une seule voix. C'est pour cette raison que je tenais à ce que Mme Ambrose soit présente à nos côtés. En effet, la cause transcende les partis politiques. Today's action also builds on our investments to strengthen the judiciary, including the $2.7 million we're providing to the Canadian Judicial Council over 5 years, with additional funding ongoing, to increase access for judges to professional development training, with a greater focus on gender and cultural sensitivity. We firmly believe that this legislation will enable judges to better serve all Canadians, while upholding the principle of judicial independence. As I mentioned earlier, the bill is consistent with the previous private member's bill introduced by Ms. Ambrose, which received unanimous consent in the House of Commons. It also reflects the amendments proposed by both the House and the Senate, which Ms. Ambrose herself endorsed. Il est important que nous puissions travailler ensemble et ainsi renforcer la confiance du public envers nos institutions. I would now like to invite Ms. Ambrose to say a few words.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. There are some issues, as Justice Minister Lametti said, that really are above politics and issues that Canadians expect us to work on. I'm here as a Conservative working with Liberals, with the Bloc, with the NDP, with Greens. I know that's plural since I've left. Supporting victims of sexual assault and improving our justice system and building confidence in our justice system is one of those issues. From the very beginning, this has been really about all of the MPs in the House, no matter what political stripe, putting partisanship aside and working together on behalf of all victims. So I'm glad to be here to talk about an issue that matters to all Canadians. Just to put it into perspective, I want to thank Justice Minister Lametti for introducing this bill. He's a Liberal Justice Minister who is reintroducing a bill that was introduced originally by a Conservative Party member, myself, a private member's bill, co-sponsored, in fact, by Thomas Mulcair, a former leader of the NDP, and included in the election platforms of a Conservative leader, Andrew Scheer, Liberal leader, Justin Trudeau, NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, and the Green Party leader at the time, Elizabeth May. So this is, in all intents and purposes, an example of all MPs working together, all parties working together. You know, when I was at university many years ago, I worked on a project called Court Watch, where we had to sit in the courtroom and actually watch sexual assault cases and sexual abuse cases. And it was striking at the time, the discrepancy between the law as it appeared on paper and the law as it was applied in the courtroom. And that project actually led to recommendations that all judges should receive mandatory sexual assault law training. And in fact, to this day, that is still not happening. And that's really what this bill is about. Today, 1 in 3 Canadian women will experience sexual violence in their lifetime. But only 1 in 10 will actually report it to police. And even less, of course, will ever make it to trial. And Aboriginal women, of course, as you know, are 5 times more likely to experience sexual violence. When you put all those stats together, what it says is 95% of women who experience sexual violence are silent. And when you ask them why they don't report, what they say is that they have no confidence in the justice system. So this bill is really a small part of a puzzle that we need to continue working on to build that confidence in our justice system so more people come forward and report their sexual assault or sexual abuse. It's really about making a promise to victims that if they actually have the courage, which is it's a very courageous thing to do, to report their sexual assault, that if they in fact get to trial, that the person presiding over their case, the judge, that whether it's a woman or a man presiding over this case, actually is competent in sexual assault law. And it's shocking to find out that, in fact, just last year, the Supreme Court overturned 2 cases of where judicial error occurred in very basic issues of sexual assault law. The Court of Appeal in Alberta has overturned 4 cases where judges made errors in sexual assault law. So this is a very basic law, and I support it wholeheartedly. I hope all MPs do, to just encourage all judges to take sexual assault law training. And in fact, in addition to that, as Justice Minister Lametti mentioned, to also incorporate training around bias and stereotypes that very often seep into the courtroom around issues related to sexual assault. And those, in fact, in law, are also not allowed. And so we do need our judges to preside over these cases with complete knowledge, competency, and up-to-date training. So that's what this bill is about. I'm glad to see it reintroduced, and of course I support it wholeheartedly, and I know that all MPs will do the same. It's a great message to send to victims across the country that members of the House of Commons who are here elected by people across Canada are doing work to support victims of sexual assault, but also working hard to ensure that we have more confidence in our system. Thank you.
What kind of things will they be taught?
I
That
think
will...
there's someone else.
Okay.
All right.
You'll get a chance.
Hello, everybody. Bonjour. Anin, salam alaikum. It's great to be on this traditional territory. Seconds ago, I seconded our colleague Minister Lametti's bill, and the opening line of that bill, the preamble, reads as follows. Survivors of sexual assault in Canada must have faith in the justice system. Too few survivors of sexual assault feel confident coming forward to seek justice, and of those who do, only a fraction see their case result in a conviction. This reality has been amplified by movements like Me Too and recent high-profile cases of sexual assault in Canadian courts. The legislation introduced today will help ensure that Canada's legal and justice systems treat survivors of sexual assault with greater dignity and respect so that survivors feel safer navigating the system. I'd like to thank Ms. Ambrose for her leadership. I met Rona Ambrose at the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women in 2013 when she was the Minister for Status of Women. And in my first term as an MP and as a minister, it has been inspiring to watch her take an issue so important like this and to be here today and to ensure that she sees it through. Thank you, Rona. If passed, Bill C-5 will require trauma-informed, culturally sensitive training is provided to aspiring judges so that those who hear sexual assault cases are not influenced by damaging myths or stereotypes. The bill requires that the training be developed in consultation with sexual assault survivors. This legislation builds on other important steps our government's taken to address and prevent gender-based violence, like further clarifying the definition of consent in law, providing funding to organizations doing the work on the ground, increasing the seriousness of intimate partner offenses, and investing in shelters and affordable housing. This step, and every step our government's taken to address and prevent gender-based violence, has been informed by survivors and their families. We thank you for your courage. We have heard your call for leadership, and today we take another step forward. Many thanks to our members of the Gender-Based Violence Advisory Council, to our colleagues on the Women's Committee who worked swiftly, and to members of the House for passing it unanimously, and of course, thanks also to those Senate colleagues who worked to advance the previous legislation in their chamber. Our next steps will include working hard to make sure that this bill has the support of this Parliament, to work with our partners to enhance the availability of this training to provincially and territorially appointed judges, to develop a national action plan to end gender-based violence, to introduce red flag laws to help authorities remove guns from dangerous situations before they become deadly, and of course, to respond to the calls for justice from the Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls Inquiry. Today, we take a step forward for survivors of sexual assault and demonstrate to Canadians that we can work across party lines to create a future where no one has to say me too. I'm sure we are all happy to take your questions now.
Sorry, just a quick note. The two ministers will have to, the two ministers will have to return to cabinet fairly.
I'm sorry, why are we here
Sorry, they will take questions, but I'm just going to say that if there are additional questions, we can continue after cabinet.
And I'll answer them after cabinet if you
Can you give us a couple of examples how judges will be trained that'll help them deal with these cases?
Sure. I mean, I can give you an instance. The Cindy Gladio case, the Supreme Court made a very strong comment around the fact that she was a victim in the case. She was not referred to as the complainant. She was referred to repeatedly during the trial as an Aboriginal prostitute. And never did the judge say, this is not appropriate language. That is not appropriate language, and that is clear in the law. So the judge didn't actually know the law. So all we're asking for really is that judges be educated in the law. And if you're a victim and you go to trial, that's the least that you should expect, that the most senior person in the room, that is the person presiding over these cases, are competent in the law and furthermore know about some of the sensitivities around these kinds of issues.
And your Conservative Senate colleagues last time dragged their heels on it. What makes you think they won't do the same this time?
I think we've made the case that Canadians support this bill wholeheartedly. The elected chamber of the House of Commons unanimously supported this bill on three different occasions. And we'll continue to make our case that this is necessary. I think there's been a movement across the country, and I think we'll continue to make our case to those who might not believe it's necessary.
Can I also add on that last question? Now that one of the arguments that was raised last time was that it was a private member's bill, and so certain senators thought because it was a private member's bill that it could go to the bottom of the pile, as it were. Now it's a government bill, and senators have an abiding obligation to treat government legislation expeditiously.
Monsieur Lametti, il y avait des préoccupations lors du dépôt et du débat du projet de loi de Mme Ambrose sur l'idée que la majorité des candidats à la magistrature ne sont pas nommés juges, seulement 10 d'entre eux sont nommés juges, donc que ça serait un peu onéreux et un gaspillage de faire passer ce cours-là à tous ces juges-là. Il y avait aussi une critique à l'effet que la majorité des causes d'agression sexuelle ne sont pas entendues par des juges fédéraux. Je l'ai lu vite, là, parce que vous venez de le déposer. Je n'ai pas l'impression que ces deux critiques-là ont été corrigées dans le projet de loi. Pourquoi?
D'abord, pour répondre à la deuxième question, on va établir le ton, si vous voulez. Déjà, il y a des provinces qui sont en train de mettre des mesures en place. D'autres vont le faire. Ils regardent le fédéral pour le leadership là-dessus, et évidemment, on va travailler avec nos homologues à travers le Canada pour encourager les provinces. Et donc, ça devrait avoir un impact très positif. Ce qu'on a décidé de faire dans le projet de loi, c'est de rendre obligatoire une telle cour après la nomination. Donc chaque candidat doit accepter, ils vont s'engager de faire le cours une fois nommé. Et donc, on préserve l'indépendance du banc comme tel, mais ça va aussi avoir un impact positif pour les juges qui siègent déjà, pour aussi prendre la formation.
Et donc, votre argument, c'est que c'est plus du gaspillage parce qu'ils vont juste le faire s'ils sont nommés
Oui,
juges. Donc,
exactement.
seulement 10 d'entre eux vont suivre le cours.
Exactement.
Avez-vous une indication que les autres partis, cela dit, vont l'appuyer? Mme Ambrose invite les conservateurs à le faire. Pensez-vous qu'ils vont le faire?
Nous allons voir. On avait l'unanimité lors de la dernière session. Ça a été excellent. On croit, on espère de l'avoir cette fois-ci aussi.
Il y a deux choses. Il y a l'inverse.
This legislation, any major differences?
No, this is the bill that Rona Ambrose presented last time, plus a modification that was added in the last parliamentary process.
Ms. Ambrose, can we hear you about, another small subject, which is the conservative race? Est-ce que le prochain chef du Parti conservateur doit être bilingue, à votre avis?
Oui, on voit. You know, look, I'm here as an advocate for sexual assault victims. I have faith that our party will choose the best person in the race, and I'm sure that'll be a topic of conversation.
About Peter MacKay's French, do you think it's sufficient?
Really, I'm not here to speak about that. Our members will make the right decision.
Okay, do you want to go back? Going back to that, how do you feel about handing your private member's bill away to a Liberal government?
Well, this bill would have never seen the light of day if it wasn't for Thomas Mulcair, Justin Trudeau, then Andrew Scheer, then Jagmeet Singh. I mean, it has been an all-party supported bill right from day one. I just happened to be the private member at the time that introduced it. So it's going to take everyone, again, working together to make this happen. And I have every faith. This bill is very much like mine, plus some really good amendments that were made in the Senate that actually made the bill even stronger. So I hope that all members support it.
Have you talked to your former colleagues, Mr. Scheer, the current whip, to see if they will follow
Yes, I've talked to them, but again, I'd be surprised. I mean, of course, it was in the election platform of Andrew Scheer's election platform, Jagmeet Singh's election platform, and Justin Trudeau's election platform. I think really what this bill has shown and this issue has shown is that it's really, there is no party politics involved in this. Right from day one, it was Thomas Mulcair who really pushed this issue forward by co-sponsoring and supporting through a unanimous motion to get my private member's bill moved up. And it's been like that ever since. People from all parties have been supportive. Women's groups from, across the entire country that are nonpartisan in nature and even partisan of different parties and have been involved every step of the way. So,
Do you have any second thoughts about saying no to the leadership? Do you have any second thoughts? I mean, you're here. We're going to
now that I'm here with all of you. No. You know what? No, I don't. But I'm very glad that I was able to introduce this bill when I did, and I'm very glad to see it being reintroduced. And that I'm able to come back and use any profile I have to push this forward.
Can I just ask you, before we let you go on this, sorry, are you concerned that there are no Western candidates in the race? I know that, I believe, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, I think it weighed in your decision. It certainly weighed in other people's decision to put pressure, quote unquote, on you to run, and some of the Conservatives have said they're disappointed. Are you concerned that there's no Western voice in all of this?
No, because this is about issues. This is about addressing issues that matter to our members. And I mean, I could point to somebody like Maxime Bernier, Andrew Scheer, who had wide support in the West. Maxime is from Quebec, Andrew Scheer is from Ontario. So no, I don't think it matters. What matters is that the members' concerns and ideas are addressed by whoever the leader is.
Monsieur Lametti, concernant le projet de loi, là, les juges vont devoir écrire leurs motifs et puis aussi le fardeau de la preuve qui est inversé. Alors, en quoi ces mesures-là n'existaient pas auparavant?
Oui, ça c'était sur le projet de loi C-75 qu'on a fait lors de la dernière session. Donc, c'est déjà là. Ils vont être éduqués là-dessus et ils vont acquérir les connaissances. Donc, ça, c'est déjà en place, mais c'est plutôt ce que Mme Ambrose disait. Il y a aussi des préjugés, des mythes qui entourent l'agression sexuelle. Donc, on travaille vraiment de changer, de remplacer ces mythes-là avec les réalités, de ne pas retraumatiser les victimes, d'avoir des procès qui sont sensibles. Donc, c'est plutôt une approche holistique.
Et qu'est-ce qui sera une mesure de succès pour vous si ce projet de loi-là passe? Dans quelques années, vous allez dire on a réussi parce que...
Parce que les femmes, à travers le Canada, vont avoir plus de confiance dans le système.
Le barreau du Québec avait soulevé des préoccupations par rapport à la constitutionnalité de la loi parce que ça empiétait potentiellement sur un champ de compétences provincial. Est-ce que vous vous attaquez à ce problème-là dans le projet de loi ou il n'existe pas ce problème-là, à votre avis?
Il y a toujours la question de l'indépendance judiciaire. Je crois qu'on a abordé cette question en mettant un critère que les avocats qui font des demandes pour être nommés vont accepter de prendre une telle formation. Donc, je crois qu'on a bien répondu à la question. Évidemment, ça ne touche que les juges qu'on nomme au fédéral, mais on espère, comme j'ai dit en réponse d'une autre question, on espère que les provinces qui n'ont pas quelque chose en place actuellement vont le faire et on est prêt à travailler avec eux.
Same question in English. Are you concerned the Bloc Québécois has a new element in this Parliament? Have they been sounded out in terms of judicial, not just the independence, but the jurisdiction of Quebec offering the courses? Are you concerned that they may find an issue and the Barreau du Québec might find an issue?
I think we'll find a compromise. There are a number of different judicial institutions, the Canadian Judicial Council, the National Judicial Institute, which already offers some courses. This will apply to federally appointed judges. judges, but we do hope, and we'll work closely with our counterparts in Quebec.
Regarde le message envoyé aux sénateurs pour que ce projet de loi-là passe, and Madame Ambrose, too, do you have a message for senators about this bill?
This is a necessary bill. OK, je vais faire les deux. OK, c'est un projet de loi nécessaire. C'est un projet de loi souhaitable. C'est un projet de loi qui va rendre notre système de justice meilleur. Donc, on a eu l'appui unanime de la Chambre des communes lors de la dernière session. On voudrait le revoir. So to say that in English, this is a necessary bill. This is a bill that we will make our system more just, will increase confidence that particularly women have in the judicial system. We had unanimous consent last time, and we think it's a good thing for Canada moving forward.
Do other countries do it? Yes.
Yes.
Is it working there? Is it making a difference?
I'll let you answer. You have more of a...
The one that I would point to, because the system is probably most like ours, is the UK, and they have a system, they use the terminology that a judge has to get their quote-unquote rape ticket. And they can't preside over a case of sexual assault until they have that training and that ticket in place. And researchers, there's always concern about how much people report, but researchers claim that that has helped. There's always more to do, but so that does exist in the UK system.
The ticket is a class?
It's training. It's training.
Donc je vais, il faut que je...
Mais juste sur le timeline, j'avais la même question. Okay. Avez-vous l'intention que ça aille rapidement? Est-ce qu'il faut que ça aille en comité, comme c'est le même projet de loi qui a déjà été adopté?
Il faut poser la question à M. Rodriguez. J'espère qu'on va avoir un appui unanime. On verra. Et on va travailler avec nos collègues à travers la Chambre et puis au Sénat pour s'assurer que ça va devenir une loi aussitôt que possible. Donc, you'll have to ask the House Leader that question. We had unanimous consent last time. We hope to get it this time. But in any event, we will work with our colleagues in the House of Commons across the aisle, as well as our colleagues in the Senate, to make sure that this becomes a law as soon as possible. Je peux répondre à d'autres questions après la réunion du cabinet. Donc, merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much.